Meeting to order. May we please stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right, I think we'll just use this microphone. I think they can
Okay.
hear. Yes, Madam President, thank you. Action item, moving on with the agenda, adoption of tonight's November 18th agenda as is. So I have a recommendation to adopt the agenda.
Okay. Superintendent Viviano recommends to adopt the agenda as is. May I have a motion? I so move. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion approved.
Thank you. All right, Madam President, welcome to our guests tonight.
Yes, it's always nice to see so many chairs filled. So it's welcome to all of you. We're happy to have you here with us, and thank you for coming.
All right. Madam President, I recommend approval of minutes from the regular meeting from October 21st, 2025.
Okay, unfortunately, I didn't find it first time around, but there was one mistype in there in the last paragraph. It says, Madam President, but it says Young instead of Hudson. That's the only thing.
So that is in,
That, fine, down in the bottom part, it talks about, it's towards the,
just so we have it on record, which,
okay, where was
portion of
it?
the
It was
amendment.
up there in the big paragraph. Okay, now I'm not finding it. I'm sorry. I should have written
no, that's
down
okay. We got time.
what line it was. There was a thing with Young right before mine, and then it was a comment, I guess, by me, but it said, now I'm not seeing it. I'm sorry. It's not popping out at me.
Bear with us, everybody. We will get it. Just to make sure. Vice President, there it is.
You
Okay,
found it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So under Section D, Board President, Board of Education, it says that
There we go.
Superintendent Bibiano, no, I apologize. That says Vice President. I don't see it,
I
ma'am.
think it was under,
There it is. It is in that section.
okay.
So it says, Madam President.
Oh, yeah, there it
Young,
is.
Motion.
It's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lineup.
Yeah. So Madam President, I recommend approval of the minutes with the change on under Superintendent Board Comments and Accommodations, item D, there was misprint. It says Madam President Young, it should say Madam President Hudson.
Okay,
So I recommend approval of minutes as amended.
with the correction as amended. Yes, Superintendent Viviano recommends approval of the minutes as amended. Can I have a motion?
I second it.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay,
Thank you,
correction.
ma'am.
Thank you.
You're
Sorry for
welcome.
the,
No problem at all. All right, Madam President, move to Superintendent Board Comments and Accommodations. Student staff recognition. So tonight, we do have the Moriarty-Edgewood School District FFA National Competition student, right? One student. We did have the team go to Indianapolis. Tonight, there was some conflict with some of the team members having to do some of their FFA duties. They're taking pictures and doing stuff, but we do have with us tonight Mr. Jeremiah Young, who will give us an update, and he competed on the team and all the awards and what they were able to bring back to not just New Mexico, but to us here in Moriarty.
Yes, we had amazing time out in Indianapolis. Me and my team went and competed in agronomy, which out there we were told is one of the hardest, if not the hardest contest in the nation. That agronomy is the hardest one you can compete in, a close second with farm business management. But we had a great time. We placed silver in the nation. And then me, Madison Satterfield, and Lexi Goodrum got silver individual. And then Caleb Cook got bronze individual. So it was a great experience. We had a lot of fun. It was a really good contest. We got to meet a lot of people. And it really broadened a lot of our knowledge on different leadership aspects that we haven't seen. So it was a great experience for all of us.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations.
And Jeremiah, if you don't mind me asking, there's a district leadership competition coming up Friday, right?
Yes.
Right.
District LDBs for public speaking and career ready.
Career, yeah. Excellent. All right. Well, good luck.
Yes.
And that'll be at Moriarty High School.
Yes.
All day. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, at Moriarty High School.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, we've hosted the district LED? LDE for the past few years. So, well, good luck with that.
Mhm.
All right. So, Madam President, moving on now. We are honored to have, where is she? Miss Page. Miss Page with us and several of her students that she works with. These students are youth and government students who have been, keep on, here they come. All right, here they come.
They're sort of all over.
Yeah, so these youth and government students and students that also participated over the summer in National History Day. So the floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you. So I have just a few. We took 16 from Moriarty Middle School and I think 22 from Edgewood Middle School. So it was a bigger group than last year that we took up there. And I was very proud of our students from Moriarty Middle School. They represented our district very well. A few of them, it was their first time, and I think you wouldn't even be able to tell. We did have one bill make it through, and the youth governor signed it. Most of the others made it through committee, and I think it was just a very good educational process for them to see Parley Pro and see how our government works. And unfortunately, we were not in the chambers this year. They had an emergency session set for Monday to discuss the SNAP benefits and such, so we couldn't use the chambers. So they were all very flexible, and we used all the committee rooms on the third floor. So it wasn't ideal, but they went with the flow and did really well. So I can let a few of them talk about their bills real quick. Yeah. So go ahead. And so Haley and Peyton worked together on their bill. So you guys want to say what your bill was that you wrote for New Mexico?
Our bill was to include home economics as a required semester-long class for middle school and high school, because we felt that if we had a class that was required, it would benefit our graduates in future life and give them better skills.
Whenever we went to the roundhouse, we had to join with 3 other groups of people from different schools because we all had the same project. It was like really hard work, but it was also really fun.
They did a bill amendment to amend their bill and smush it together. So I'm going to pass the.
Me and 2 others, Frank Romero and John Wayne Tapia, we proposed a bill to remove renewable energy from public lands. We made it to the Senate but got shut down. We wanted to preserve the natural beauty of the New Mexico, and by removing the what's the word? The wind turbines and solar fields to preserve the beauty.
Mine and Lorena's bill was about increasing the kindergarten age requirement because we feel like kindergartners are not mature enough or ready to be in the classroom environment.
And this is Gerardo, aka Pickle. He is not part of youth and government, but he went to National History Day to Washington, D.C. this last summer. Do you want to say what your project was about?
This works.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't sound like it works. But it does work.
So our project was about McDonald's lunches and how the toy makes kids eat them.
And your goal this year with NHD?
I don't know.
You don't know, really? Do you want to go back to DC?
I mean, yeah,
His
it
goal
was
is to
kind
go
of fun.
up in the Washington Monument this next year because we
Yeah.
did not go up.
That
Yeah.
was fun.
So
Yeah.
he's doing it again. And Peyton is also in NHD and Haley. So I have a great group of NHD kids this year too. So I'm very proud of them. And unfortunately, not everybody could be here. Soccer banquets, basketball scrimmages, because as you guys all know, kids that are involved in a lot of these activities are involved in a lot of activities. And McKenna, can you come up real quick? She was our high school mentor for youth and government. So
Yeah, so I basically ran all the middle school delegations. We had some from like Albuquerque, Las Cruces, TRC. All of them came up to the conference. It was about, you guys were there for 2 days. We were there for 3, and then I've have an officer team. All high school students from New Mexico. We planned the whole thing, made it accommodated to the changes of not being able to use the chambers. So we were the ones that had to accommodate to the committee rooms in the floor level 3. And then we reviewed all of their proposals, and we had I believe 300 and something proposals to go through, and we finished them this week. So
and I really appreciate McKenna coming to the middle school and helping the students get ready, because the parliamentary procedure is a little intimidating sometimes, and she really helped them to be prepared. And I felt like our kids were a little more prepared than other schools because of her. So yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for all the work you're doing with the students, really building a program. Youth and Government and National History Day had a strong program at the high school, and a couple of years ago had conversations and started with the middle schoolers with a very small handful of students. And it sounds, again, you said over 20 that went to YAG? Yeah.
From youth and government, 31
from our district, 31 middle school students. Yeah, excellent. All right. Well done. Well done, students. Keep up the great work. That's good stuff. Moving on to our cross-country state champion. So Moriarty High School, for those of you that didn't that don't know, and you will now here in a few seconds, we have Miss Carmen Dorsey Spitz with us, and we would like to congratulate her publicly. Coach Anaya is with her, and she can tell us about her accomplishment. All right.
Good evening, Superintendent Bibiano, Madam President, members of the board. This is Carmen Dorsey Spitz. She is probably one of the top runners in cross country in the state, if not the top runner in the state of New Mexico. This past year, out of the 10 meets we went to, she won 9 of them. The only one she did get her revenge on that girl at the state meet. So she became known as the cross country girl. I'd be getting calls from other ADs around the state constantly, like, who is this girl from Moriarty? It's the cross country girl. We'd be in our NMA meetings, statewide, and they'd be talking about the cross country girl, our girl, Carmen Dorsey Spitz. One of the best stories was when they went to East Mountain. I guess you have to do the loop twice. And there's the ATV 4x4 that trails the last person. And they're saying, oh, don't worry, she won't catch us. And I guess you caught the ATV. Yeah. So this year she won New Mexico State 4A cross country. She broke the state record, and she broke the cross country course record across all classes. So yes, she is the fastest in the state of New Mexico. So congratulations.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank my coaches, or Coach Gustafson and Coach Otero, and my dad because he put in a lot of work, and Mr. Anaya because I'm terrible at paperwork and I submitted so many forms of the wrong forms way too many times. And yeah, I'm just grateful that Moriarty has a good running structure, community, and good loops. And also specifically wanted to pinpoint how much they care about our safety. We'll be going out on long runs, and they'll follow us with the big, we call it the stalker van, with Gustafson's big van. And she'll just follow us to make sure that we're safe when we get back. So very good community.
Thank you.
Madam President, moving on to Moriarty High School Student Council report with McKenna and Jeremiah once again with us.
Okay, so first things first, we had a very big turnout for Veterans Day. We had an assembly and it was a huge success. So we want to give a big thank you to Mr. Johnston for organizing the entire event. We had over 30 veterans show up and all the students cooperated very nicely and it was very respectful and a very nice day overall.
Yeah, it was a really cool event, and I'm really glad that he helped organize this for our school because you really saw these kids like show their best, put their best foot forward for these veterans. It was really impressive seeing these kids that you see rustling around in the hallway, really sitting there and respecting these people for what they deserve.
Yeah, we had a guest speaker and like it inspired a lot of people. I talked to a lot of the students afterwards and they said that it was good hearing like that point of view because you usually like hear from teachers like, oh, what Veterans Day is, but hearing it from someone who actually is a veteran like gives a different perspective on it.
Assembly for December will be rescheduled due to the Bruce and Alice King tournament. So our December pep assembly we'll have to reschedule just because we have a scheduling conflict there.
And then the next big event that we have is Sweetheart Week. So we will coordinate the times and dates for Sweethearts and announce the winners during the home basketball game. So we'll get those dates to you.
And then tomorrow from 4 to 7, we'll be having a blood drive at the high school. So everyone's welcome to come and donate blood at our school. And so, yeah. I think that's it. I think we covered all on our.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you too. All right. So Madam President, before we move on to principals and athletic directors board report, we can excuse the families if they'd like to go, if it's okay with the board, if anybody.
Most
And
definitely.
we will wait for them and thank them for being here and spending some time with us. Yeah, congratulations, all of you. Yep, and good job, student council.
Yes.
All right, Madam President, moving on to principals and athletic director board reports. Any questions or comments on any of the board reports? And we finally have Mr. Nye here tonight. He always had games or something scheduled, but it's good to see him here tonight. So thank you. And principals, thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for being here
That
and
football
thank you.
game the other night was awesome, Joe.
Yes.
That was a good football game. Got to congratulate the coach and the kiddos for doing what they did.
Yes,
Yeah,
Yes.
they played their heart out
they really.
all season long towards the end, especially those final games to get into the playoffs and then stepping up at that home game, that playoff home game against Portales. And
Was
then
wonderful. Yeah.
that long trip down to Chaparral and going into overtime and
Especially you won against Portales. Portales is a bigger school we are, I think. But we did awesome.
Yeah. No,
Thank you.
a lot of scoring went on that game.
Yeah,
But
it was
yes.
back and forth.
Back and forth. So, yes, thank you. And thank you for all of your board reports. Sounds like everything's busy and moving towards the holidays, but reading all of your reports on your Veterans Day appreciations were good, and the one at the high school was very good, and the kids were very interested and appreciative of the veterans that were there. So thank you for that. And then also for, what else was there? Oh, I totally enjoyed the first quarter awards night, and that 250 students were recognized for their attendance, and that's wonderful. Things are going in the right direction, so that's good to see. And then also the outrageous performance that you all had at the high school was very fun. And it's nice to see those artworks around the different schools that the 5th and 8th grader and high school students got to participate in. So that was that was very good. So thank you.
Mrs. Luce, I knew you had a fire day because I came home and my daughter was coming to me with stickers and said, when's the last time you checked the smoke detectors? And I was like, so yeah, I saw it in your report and I was like, she was on me with her stickers and checking my smoke detectors.
Yeah, thank you. That I happened to be there that day, and it was fun. It was Moriarty Fire Department, and was it a state fire inspector? I believe that's what it was, who put on grade level appropriate education about fire safety at home. So you're welcome, Vice President Young.
I've not addressed any of those issues yet.
Annually check the batteries every New Year's Day, right? Or something like that. Right. But yeah, the kids loved it. And I think this year was a little different when they had the mascot, Sparky, right? The dog walking around and just interacting with the students. And yeah, it was really, really nice for them, not only to get that education, but just to build that relationship with the firefighters.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And to see them and whatnot. So thank you. And the outrageous was pretty cool.
It was cool.
That was.
It was. I enjoyed it.
We talked about it, didn't know what to expect.
Mhm.
And after that performance was done within an hour, we said, wow, this is something that we should see bringing to the, we had, who did we have there? We had our 5th graders, 8th graders, and high schoolers. But to expand it, they did a great job, and they're local. They're from the Edgewood to Harris. And they mentioned several times that this was the closest they've ever performed.
Yes.
But they've also been in the Philippines and Canada and whatnot. So I'm very grateful to the ATP Foundation for providing that to us. We are, just so the board knows and members of the audience, they are trying to set up a second performance for the Estancia schools.
Okay.
And we are talking about letting the Estancia schools use our pack at the high school. And so they can bring in and also experience, the singing, the dancing, the art, and the positive messages. It just was, they talk about reading, writing, math, science, and how your scores could increase as a student if you're involved with the fine arts, visual arts. So very, very, very entertaining and educational for the students as well.
And they're very colorful.
They're very colorful. Yep. Yes, ma'am. Any other comments, questions on the board reports? If not, Madam President, we'll move to Board of Education, Board President. Before we move and into item 1, discussion, MESD transportation. Are there any board members, ma'am, that would like to comment or have any accommodations other than what we've already talked about so far?
Everybody good? Okay. Everybody's good.
Okay. So, Madam President, for discussion purposes only, we did put on the agenda for tonight, it says MESD transportation. There has been some public comment in past meetings about some of the decisions that were made about transportation, in particular from daycares or a daycare that services our students and families. And we just had a request to put it as a discussion item if there was going to be any discussion by board members or would like to say anything further than what has already been said. That's okay. So no additional comments or
further
anything by
comments
Vice
or
President?
questions.
Okay. Okay, then
Thank
we
you.
can move on. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Madam President, members of the board. The State of New Mexico Public Education Department has posted, and it's open to the public, the New Mexico Vistas for the 24-25. I don't know why I keep forgetting. I keep saying 24-25 categories, data, compilation of different topics and subjects that the public can pull up the website. They can look at every school in the state of New Mexico. I did mention when it went live, and I notified the board that it was live. And so we'd like to see if we could pull it up. What I'd like to do, and this is just a brief overview of what Vistas looks like and some of the data that we celebrate, some that we are looking at, that we know that have some regressions. Last year when we introduced Vistas to the board, it had been up for a year prior to that, but it really wasn't as in-depth. And so what I'll ask Mr. Gatsby to do is to pull up the website and just to show, because there are some additional areas on the Vistas. So this is what it looks like. If you see up on top, on the bar on top, it says view by school, view by district, or view by state. All years, it does go back 3 years, but really what we're going to be looking at tonight is just real quick comparisons. I mean, really big views, because most of the data that is on this website, we've already presented either through Mr. Gatsby at our beginning of year data in the board meeting, or the principals have presented it on their 90-day plans that we're working on. Mr. Gatsby, if you could scroll down. Yeah, I just want to show the board some of the newer areas. So it shows, well, the areas, it shows proficiency, and we talk about that, right? Students at grade level. Then we talk about growth, which is always a nice conversation to have. Are our students growing, right? They may be below proficiency coming to us or starting the school year, but are we growing our students? So if you keep scrolling down, sir, we do have these additional items here. If you English learner progress, college and career readiness, they do have pieces of data in it that you can click, regular attendance as well. But as you scroll down, these 3 items, as well as the 2 below it, will not be available until January. They're still collecting data. School climate, I believe, is going to be tied to our panorama data. And if you keep scrolling down, sir, this is a new piece as well, and I've mentioned it to President Hudson when I met with her a couple of days ago. School board members are required to have a certain amount of hours of training, whether you're a new school board member or a veteran, and so that's being tracked. It's not in there right now. Okay. So if we were to click on that, it would say January. That's when it's available. And then the last piece all the way down is to highlight and congratulations to our principals, the designations that the Moriarty-Edgewood school districts, the 6 schools that are, the preschool does not have their data on Vistas. But congratulations on our spotlight and traditional designations. Those are the top 2 designations that schools can get based on all of the achievement data and attendance and all of the other pieces of data that the PED is putting together. All right, sir. So
Thank you.
So if we do a little comparison from 23-24. All right, good job,
There we
guys.
go.
Thank you. You got it. We're getting it now. All right. So some district highlights on the second slide. Math proficiency overall increased from 23.3 to 27.2. All of this data, again, this isn't all the data, but all of this is available for comparison from the previous year to this year. You click, you hover, you can look at all the different growth rates. But if you take a look there, and I'd like to point out, there are two sections. There's proficiency, and then there's growth, right? So when we look at these slides or we have these conversations, we try to make sure that we separate the two because they're two very different and important data points. Math growth improved in many of our subgroups, and in particular, male students grew 5%, economically disadvantaged 3.5%, and students identified as homeless grew 13% in their math from last year as individuals. Now, the proficiency rates, and we were having this conversation again, are grades 3 through 8th and 11th, whereas the growth rates are the median growth of students 4th through 8th grade compared to their peers. So, as people and the public and as our own staff look at vistas, it's important to know these data points and how they're disaggregated. Students with disabilities, their 4-year graduation rate increased by almost 5.5%. And we're moving along with college and career readiness participation. So our high school students from last year to this year, we have 82.8 of our students that are in identifiable college and career readiness classes. That's a 4% growth. Math, the 3.9 overall proficiency throughout the subgroups. And again, if you look at vistas, it breaks it down in subgroups. So the first little bar you'll see always would be all students. Again, 3rd through 8th and our 11th graders. Then it'll break it up into male, female, different ethnicities, and different designations. Students with disabilities, students without disabilities, economically disadvantaged students, homeless students, and there's some other subgroups. Hispanic students had a 5.5 proficiency gain. And our male and female students, there's the numbers there on their math proficiency gains. Some areas that regressed from last year. So this is where you got to break down the data and start looking. We did have proficiency that went up, but when you look at the entire state, proficiency went up in the entire state. And so we fell from the 52nd percentile to the 48th percentile. So just a little dip. Right? Our growth wasn't overall. We have not broken that down to see what grade levels that might be in yet. Science proficiency did take some steps back, 9%. Our EL reading growth fell sharply by 13, and they dropped from the 52nd to the 39th percentile. And then our math declined with students with disabilities from the 43rd to the 40th percentile. Subgroup performance, math proficiency is up in nearly all groups. Students with disabilities show consistent need for targeted interventions, increased proficiency, growth, and graduation rates. And our overall graduation rate, our overall 4-year graduation rate basically remained flat. It was at 67.4, I believe, or 67.2 last year to 67.5. And this is our 4-year graduation rate. If you look at vistas, they have a 4-year graduation rate, a 5-year, and a 6-year. So we do have some students who do not graduate within 4 years, but they may be our summer graduates or they may be our winter graduates, and they fall into that 5-year rate, and that's up in the 80%. I believe, Madam President and members of the board, that looking at the data from last year, starting this summer, going into August, the principals have done an excellent job in setting up their 90-day plans. Some of the action steps here are just, kind of general action steps. There's more targeted ones because every school and every subgroup at every school has different data. But we need to continue to strengthen our Tier 1 literacy instruction, maintain math momentum with our aligned curriculum and PLCs. We do have a math curriculum adoption year coming up. So we will be looking at the highly HQIM for that. Targeted interventions with students with disabilities and EL. Maybe, looking at graduation coaching for high-risk groups, strong and early warning system and credit monitoring systems. We actually are going to start at the high school very soon, a program called Level All. Level All. And that is a credit monitoring system, the next step plans, an early warning system all put together. So we can catch students and have those conversations and coach them up. And then continue professional development with AEIS, building thinking classrooms. And this is a new concept to me, a new model. I know it's coming out there, but we're looking at, and Mr. Gatson-Beatty has a breakdown of it in his board report. It's called the 5 E's lesson model. We do have our trainers from AEIS that have been here this week, and they've been working on those things even more so with our teachers. So we do have some regression. We do have some areas where, maybe the state average is up a little bit more, but if we take a look at Vistas, and I encourage you to look through the website whenever you get a chance, and come back with any questions. We'll continue working on our data, presenting our data to the board, to the public. The next step that we'll be looking at that is in my plan and working with the staff is looking at those cohort data. When kids were fourth, fifth, third graders, last year they were fourth graders, where they at as fifth graders now, and be able to present that. I know they're working on it at the schools and they're looking at it on a regular basis, but we'll do it on a district level moving forward. So again, Madam President, thank you. Members of the board, I just wanted to, again, let the public know, let you know that Vistas is up and running. We get notified that Vista data is ready to go probably a month before it goes live. And we have an opportunity, once it's embargoed, to look at the data and dispute it if we needed to. So we do have an opportunity to talk to the PED if we think that they don't have our data correct. So, Madam President, members of the board, any questions, comments?
I thank you. I'm very encouraged by that report and that we are headed in the right direction, and you guys are working very hard. And there's evidence of that. And the fact that you have your action plans in place. So thank you. Thank you for a good report.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Anybody else?
When I look through Vistas just a little bit at the, math, science and English reading, language arts, I see that we're slightly ahead of the state average, right? So we're okay. And so obviously that's a good thing. It's just, I'd like to see a little more ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
We're headed there.
Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. If you look at the attendance data, we may be a little bit below it in some areas. But again, we've had our attendance team. We've put in some new plans. Our student success coaches at the middle school, and really trying to work on that data. But yes, sir, Vice President Young, we will be headed. Those numbers will increase.
That's right.
Those numbers will increase. Thank you, everyone. Moving on to Director of Learning Services Board Report. Mr. Gatson-Beatty, you have anything to add since you submitted your report, or ready for questions if anybody has any?
So I was looking at I guess they would call it a checks report. Is that kind of the acronym? Is that what it's supposed to say? How is it that only like 48 or 49 were identified as I don't understand how this data comes when there's only 49 selected, I guess. I don't, can you explain it just a little bit?
Yes, we're still in the process. It's still fairly new to the state of New Mexico. Okay. It's the childhood experiences questionnaire. Right. And the data goes to UCLA. And as you can see, the data that we just received is for our current first graders. So there's still information that they need to disseminate as far as interpreting the data. And we haven't received all of that yet. Okay. So we're still in a kind of a holding pattern. How do we interpret this?
But yeah, I saw 48 and 49. I'm like, even if it's first grade students, I assume have more than 48 or 49 first grade students. Okay. I just needed an explanation. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Guess we're good.
No.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Madam President, moving on to Student Support Services, Director of Student Support Services, Mrs. Ortiz, any updates that you would like to add to your report, or if not, available for questions?
No update.
So is it just me or is there more kids in special education? Because I could have sworn it was like 500 last time and it looks like it's 590 or something.
I think we started out with 606,
Okay.
and it's obviously it fluctuates. We've had students qualify, some students were exited, and some new students enter
This
the
is
district.
just,
It's a revolving door.
Mhm,
I see more kids in gifted than I've seen.
mhm.
So
That's
we're
good.
moving in the right direction.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, moving on to business. Madam President, I recommend approval of consent agenda finance items 1 through 3.
Superintendent Viviano has recommended approval of consent agenda items 1 through 3. May I have a motion? I second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay.
All right. Moving on to reports for business. Mrs. Young, any updates on anything, or if not, ready for questions?
Madam President, members of the board, the finance committee met yesterday. We just went over the first quarter reports that we submitted to the state. Everything's looking good. I mean, I don't have any concerns at this point. And then as far as audit goes, our audit has been submitted for review. So we should be having either an update meeting soon or hopefully an exit conference soon. So.
I guess I'll ask this now, and it's something I could have asked before, and especially yesterday when we were meeting in the finance committee though, but there was going to be a delay with some of the work for the audits, right? But we're fine, right? Yeah.
So Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Viviano, because of the federal government shutdown, they did extend the audit deadline to January 20th. Normally they would have been due last Friday, November 15th is usually the deadline. So we're still on track. They're going to submit our state part, but the federal part has to be submitted later. So it is in 2 pieces. They did let me know that we will have an additional fee. It's a little over $3,000. Not quite sure what that entails, but I'm like, okay.
Okay.
So not like we have a choice in the matter. We have to finish our audit, so.
Yeah. We didn't have any say in the extension, but they want to charge us
They didn't
because there
charge
was
us
an
for it, 'cause
extension.
we have no control.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Yeah. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Madam President, if I may, since it does have to deal with finances and funds coming up, want to thank the communities, community members, everyone and all the voters that went out and helped us pass our general obligation bond and our 2 mil levy. Again, I bring that up because when we look at those finance reports, those quarterlies, and Antoinette is telling us it's, 1,103 and five, all these line items. And then she comes back and says, oh, well, that's operational. And that's general obligation bond. And that's 2 mil levy. And this is SB 9. And, just really, really appreciate the work that everybody put in to help us not only get the word out, but to really support the students onto the staff members and onto the district with the way that the vote turned out.
And really, that's where all that money goes back to the students. Nobody else but the students.
Yes. I too want to say thank you, and I too thank you, Todd, and Antoinette for all the work that you did to get the information together and get it
Mhm.
out there. So thank you. Job well done.
I think we had a pretty good team put together.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I agree. Um, and the last thing I'll just say about that is it was a, looking at past, what they call off-cycle elections, where you don't have the big federal elections or the governor's race for state and stuff. It was a great turnout, over
Really?
over
Yes.
3,400 voters in all the counties total that voted. And again, from the bottom of my heart, thank everybody for setting us on the right path so we can start working on facilities and maintenance and doing some things we need for the students and the staff members.
Now we'll have to stress.
Yeah, no, there's always stress, sir. There's always something but I appreciate it. At least on that.
It all works out.
All right, moving on to Personnel, Director of Personnel, Dr. Buckley. Any updates? Or if not, ready for question?
No math teachers?
Okay. I think we'll turn the tide come January. So people who want to come to a good place, they'll see us. They'll see us, yeah. Any other questions or anything for Dr. Buckley?
Just keep moving forward.
All right, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Buckley. I thought you were saying something
Okay.
else. All right, yep.
Thank you.
All right, moving to support services, special projects and other items. Again, ma'am, if it's okay, I will just ask if there's any questions for transportation, tech coordinator, maintenance, food services, or our CTE coordinator when they're not here, but I can try to answer them.
I was certainly glad to see in transportation, though, that they said all buses have drivers, and we have an extra driver, I believe.
Yes, ma'am.
So that
Yes,
was
ma'am.
good. Although it did say you also consolidated routes.
So part of what Mr. Linen has really done a great job of, and his staff, really. I mean, it's been a team effort in that department, trying to consolidate and, so we have routes filled. We have one, but we still unfortunately may have to cancel some routes because we're just at a stable level now. But if somebody gets sick or they have to call it, an appointment or the day off, then we may not have enough. But we're again, that's another piece of the puzzle that's moving in the right direction in that department.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I just had a comment. I guess it goes along with the GO bond, but I think it's pretty awesome that we're able to start moving on the Edgewood Middle School HVAC. I think that's big.
It is.
So thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank you. And I don't know the outcome of the meeting today, but I know Mrs. Young had a meeting with Year Out, and that conversation is even moving forward even more so. Yeah. So, if we can get, there's going to be a variety of options of units and or what we can do. And it's not only the actual units that provide heating and cooling, but it's the controls as well. So we can try to monitor and remotely control the system. So yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, Member Donner. Anything else for support services, special projects, or other items? No? All right, then we move to board policy. So Madam President, we don't have, it's been a while, right, that we don't have policies, and we will be getting some more and revisiting and revising. But we did have in September, Mrs. Peterson come and present and ask the board to consider proposed endorsement of library book rating system. We did print out some of the pamphlets and some of the flyers that she provided. There were some others as well, but that's what it really is. And so we put on the agenda for discussion purposes only about a proposed endorsement where you, Madam President or members of the board, may want us to provide more information on. If anybody has any suggestions or would like to discuss this any further. I had Ms. Peterson had emailed me and I emailed her back to let her know that, it's on the agenda tonight. She mentioned again that State Senator Thornton, Representative Lord, that they are still in the works and it looks like they're planned on at least proposing a library book rating system in the state legislature this session. This session is only a 30-day session, typically just around budget only. So I don't know if the introduction would just start and the conversation at the state level, where it would go with it. If it's not tied to the money, which you would think it would have to be tied to some funding. But is there any discussion, anything that the board would like for me and my staff maybe to get some more input from staff members, where we want to head, in my thought process and talking with others, if a letter of endorsement or a resolution were to happen, there's a suggestion that possibly setting up a committee, doing some sort of input from community members that way. Might have to bounce the idea around a little bit more to see exactly how we could do that, to provide the board some guidance on what the community members and families may want the board to move on.
So we're talking about rating books at the library. Do students really use books at the library like they used to, or do they use the phone more?
So Madam President, if I may, can I get Ms. Apple to answer that question? Yeah, what is?
Do they still use the books like we used to, or they use the phone more?
Oh, well, it depends on what grade you're talking about. So our elementary schools and the preschools are very heavily library. Like they check out books, they do lessons. It's very heavy library. What we notice as they get to middle school and to high school, their interest in reading is taking a dive. We're definitely battling screens right now. So there's not the use at the upper levels. So does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, but every kid at the elementary school, they're checking out books every single week, so.
In elementary.
Yes.
But the middle schoolers and high schoolers use the phone. So how are we going to rate those phones?
Yeah, I know, right? YouTube.
So see, what I'm saying is, in my mind, this is me. I'm old school. How are we going to control the kids with our books and putting all the money into it and stuff like that? But yet we still have the phones ready at home, everywhere. And that's all they use. That's all I ever see kids. I never see them reading books or nothing. I see them on their phone. So it's kind of hard for me to cope with what we're trying to do. But that's just me, like I said. Not everybody thinks like I do. Thank you for the information.
I think my comment on that would just be that the school district is responsible for what the school district provides. So, I mean, you can't monitor what a kid's doing on their phone, but you can monitor what the district is providing.
I understand that.
But I think it's a good idea personally to get a committee together, see what the public or at least the staff thinks about it. I mean, I personally would lean towards sending a resolution in support, but I think it would be great to get input from people that are in it.
That's what I asked.
Yeah,
Because
get more information.
I haven't been in school in 60 years now.
Right.
And with that, it's just what goes through my head. I see the kids. You see families in restaurants. They don't ever talk to each other. They're all on the phone. I kind of got in trouble in Texas because I asked this family, they said, I think in Texas, or am I just seeing things? And they said, why is that? I said, ever since you sat down, you guys have not looked at each other, but you've been texting. are you keeping secrets from each other? What are you doing? Texting the father and the mother? And they just laughed and they said, no, Albert. No, they didn't say Albert. No, sir, we're not. They said, but you know what I mean? But we're trying to fix something that's been the same forever, but yet we're putting an AI out there to, their AI is going to be the one that's going to be judging the books, judging the kids. It's, to me, it's, I know it's the way of the world, it's the way of the future now, but to me, it's kind of funny to do stuff like that. I'm still old school, but.
Another comment I would make is just that with movies and media like that that's shared in class, there's a policy for rating on what is allowed in class, right? Or
Yes, ma'am.
parental consent.
Yes, ma'am.
So I think
I can see that.
yeah.
Yes.
So I think it's, in my view, it's similar, and I think it lays it out pretty good on the form as well. Similar rating system to what our kids are able to access without parental consent. And to me, it seems like a lot of just information for parents to know what kind of material their kids have access to.
The phone has a lot of material.
Yeah.
And it's hard to control that. So
I agree.
I'm not arguing.
No.
Thank you.
So my 2 cents is, you know, a rating system's as good as the use, right? So are parents notified when the kid's trying to check out a book? I guess I just need to know more, because the parents who are checking backpacks when their kids get home know what their kids are reading. Okay, so if you're not checking backpacks, you don't care about a rating system. Okay, so I mean, the more academically involved you are in your kids, the more this makes sense. This makes sense to me because we open backpacks, but not everybody opens backpacks. I mean, so I did see this rating system in Albuquerque. I was at a school. I saw it. I didn't understand what I was looking at because I didn't know. I mean, I was in a library and I'm looking and I'm like, what are all these stickers? Yellow and like green and like orange and red. And I'm like, but I would assume it's something similar to this, which if it's AI driven, depending on the prompt, how you prompt it is how you get your rating. I mean, you can make something that's generally good for everybody and prompt it in a way that it sounds negative. So, I mean, we have to be careful with the use of something like that. I don't have a problem with this. I just think that the people who are checking backpacks, this is going to be helpful, but those that aren't, I just don't see it really being a big, you know, moving the needle in any direction.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point with parental involvement. But if there is an R-rated book that I would assume would need some kind of parental consent, then I think parents would have to be involved in some way at that level.
Well, I was even wondering, you know, if you have the librarian or whoever's checking the books out, would they let a 5-year-old check out an R-rated book? I mean,
My hope would be if this rating system was in place that we would not have R-rated books in the.
I would hope we wouldn't either.
In the elementary school, right? I mean,
but
just
I
like
think
you're
there
not
are some
supposed.
books in there that are not wholesome
Yeah,
and healthy.
and I say that by just because the movies that are
Right.
rated,
Right.
there's only certain ones in certain libraries, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I just share something with the board, please? As the district librarian, I can kind of tell you how we do acquire books. And this is going to be my 5th year in this position. So one of the things, first of all, our library catalog is available on the website for students or for parents to access. So they are more than welcome to go and look at what's in the catalog and see what's available at each site. The other thing is, and we talk about this, especially at the elementary school, because they're more hands-on with the kids. If the parents don't want their kids to check something out, they let that library assistant know. And we've done that. And it could be something, it's not necessarily an R-rated book. It's because they don't want their kid reading a graphic novel. But there's that communication that's always an option. As for purchasing the books, I do all the purchasing, so I oversee it all. And yes, I'm human, so sometimes things like slip through the cracks. I tend to take a more conservative stance on things, but I do know that I'm purchasing books that represent all of our students at the same time. But with that said, when I do make a purchase, I reference at least 2 actual journals that give an age rating, give background, all of that, see if it's appropriate. So there's just a lot of like things in place. I've gone through every collection in the district, and I can tell you, if I look at the Alliance of the Freedom, whatever, I've gone through their list that they have, and I know where that list is stemming from. There are no flagged books in our elementary schools that are on that list. So I can tell you, obviously things get, when the kids get older, it's different, but our books in our elementary schools, I think that's like people's biggest concern, right? And at our middle schools and our high schools, there's very few books. And also keep in mind, when you start doing that, our classics, I'm pulling this up, and a lot of the books that we use as our text in our classes are on those lists as well. So we're kind of opening up an entire can of worms when we start talking about this kind of rating system. So that's just all I had to say. But I do want you to know that we're not just grabbing books and throwing them out on the shelves. There is a process. I'm trying to make sure that everything that gets put out there is appropriate for the age and the grade level. As I was going through them, yeah, there's a couple I'm like, I can't believe that was there. Like the Hunger Games at elementary school, we pulled that a couple of years ago because it's just not quite, and that was there for like 15 years, but we're keeping an eye on it. So that's just my 2 cents. Probably overshared, sorry, but.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. And I over exaggerated by using an R-rated book. I mean, for elementary school, but anyway, are there books that PED or that Santa Fe has designated as books they want in the libraries?
What?
Are there books from PED and Santa Fe that get
I've got
recommended for libraries to have?
Ed has pulled all library stuff. They used to even have standards, and it's not even on their website anymore. I mean, you can't find anything. If you go on there, you can't find anything. If you do a deep dive in the internet, you might find something from like 2004 from the PED. So
okay,
yeah.
So we're in control of our own.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry. I really appreciated that insight. That was great. And clearly you have very high standards, which is awesome. Is there a procedure, and excuse me for my ignorance in this, but is there a procedure or a policy for the librarian to have the same high standards that you have, like going forward forever? Like if someone else were to come into the role down the road, would they have the same high standard that you have now for
Yeah, there's a
checking books?
selection policy.
Okay.
Yeah, the district has a
Are you comfortable with how that policy is laid out?
I think we could update it, but that would be another discussion, but yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Madam President, members, starting with Mrs. Apple, and then other staff members, I can get a group together to look at that selection policy. Maybe we start there. And bring it to the board if there's going to need to be any updates, or it's fairly old. It's fairly old. It's one of the policies that's in, and maybe we can just also work on getting some input from others as well moving forward. One thing I do want to, and we can continue on more than but if I remember correctly, this was a rating system that the way it was presented for library material, library book, library. What it was library books and materials. And I need to get a definition. Does that mean library materials, or does that mean materials within the schools? Because that's a whole nother level of leveling up of just work. Yeah. But I think it's more presented by Mrs. Peterson as within the libraries themselves and the materials that are in it. Okay. Good discussion.
Good discussion, yes, thank you.
All right.
Any other?
No citizens comment, ma'am? And then, so we will go to advanced planning. Listed 3 items, the New Mexico School Board Association Annual Conference, December 4th through 6th. The 4th is like afternoon, and it's got veteran and new member training. And then on the 5th is the all day, and then on the 6th, it's only in the morning. We have our December 16th Board of Education meeting, regular meeting at 6 o'clock, and work session. And traditionally has been for the the superintendent's summative evaluation. So we would go into closed executive session for that work session at 5 o'clock. Again, this isn't set in stone. If we needed to do something obviously before then and move because of everybody's calendars, then we can. And then Principal Romero, high school winter graduation is still on December 17th. At what time, ma'am? I didn't put the date. 2:30.
2:30.
I apologize. 2:30. Again, tomorrow is the health fair from 4 to 7. Jeremiah wants you to go get blood from 4 to 6, but it's open and it's been publicized, social media, websites all over the place. All our community members are invited for that. Is there anything there? Is there any other requests for discussion for planning?
No? I
Nope.
guess not.
All right. So, Madam President, I recommend that we adjourn tonight's regular meeting.
Superintendent Viviano has recommended that we adjourn tonight's board meeting. Is there a motion for that? A second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried, meeting adjourned.
All right. I think I'm speaking French. Azure.
Azure.